It's so good to be with you today. I believe God has great things in store for you. You didn't show up by accident. You are here on purpose, for a purpose. And I want to remind you of something powerful. God loves you unconditionally. That means He's not waiting for you to get it all together. He's not looking at your mistakes, your past, or your weaknesses. No, His love is not based on what you do, it's based on who He is. He is a loving Father, and His love for you will never change. Maybe you felt unworthy, like you don't deserve God's goodness, but can I tell you, you don't have to earn His love. You don't have to strive for it. Right where you are, in the middle of the challenges, the struggles, the victories, He loves you with an everlasting love. Romans 8:38 says, nothing can separate us from the love of God. That means no mistake, no failure, no bad decision can cancel His love for you. People may walk away, circumstances may change, but God's love remains constant. I want you to live with this confidence today. You are chosen. You are valued. You are deeply loved by Almighty God. His love will heal you, restore you, and lead you into greater things. Now do your part. Receive that love. Walk in it. Let it lift you up. Because when you understand just how much God loves you, you'll rise higher. You'll dream bigger. And you'll step into the fullness of His amazing plan for your life. Stay encouraged. Keep believing. And always remember, God's love for you is unconditional. So often we live in a world where love seems to come with strings attached. People love you as long as you meet their expectations, as long as you perform, as long as you say and do the right thing. But the moment you fall short, the moment you make a mistake, that love can change. It can be taken away. It can grow cold. But God's love is not like human love. His love is not based on what you do. It's based on who He is. He is love itself. That means He doesn't love you because you deserve it, because you earned it, or because you always get it right. He loves you simply because you are His child. There's nothing you could do to make Him love you any more, and there's nothing you could do to make Him love you any less. Think about a parent holding their newborn child for the first time. That baby hasn't done anything to earn the love of their parents. They haven't spoken a word, accomplished anything, or proven their worth, yet the parents are overflowing with love for that child. Why? Because that child belongs to them. That child is part of them, and if we, as imperfect human beings, can love like that, how much more does God love us? Sometimes it's easy to believe in God's love when things are going well. When we feel strong, when we're making good choices, when we're living the way we know we should, we can accept His love without hesitation. But what about when we fall? What about when we make mistakes? What about when we feel unworthy, when we've made decisions we regret? When we feel like we've failed? That's when we need to remind ourselves that His love doesn't change. He doesn't withdraw His love when we mess up. He doesn't turn away in disappointment. No, He reaches out even more, with open arms, ready to lift us back up. In the Bible, there's a story about the prodigal son. This young man took his inheritance early, left his father's house, and wasted everything he had on reckless living. He ended up in a desperate place, alone, broken, and ashamed. He thought to himself, maybe I can go back home, not as a son, but as a servant. Maybe my father will take me in just to work for him. But when he was still a long way off, his father saw him, and what did his father do? He didn't stand at a distance waiting to hear an apology. He didn't scold him for his bad choices. No, he ran to his son. He threw his arms around him, put a robe on his back, a ring on his finger, and said, welcome home. That's how God loves you. Even when you've walked away, even when you've made mistakes, He's not waiting for you with judgment. He's running towards you with mercy. His love doesn't come with conditions. It's not based on your performance. It's not based on how many times you pray, how many good things you do, or whether or not you have it all together. His love is freely given. The enemy will try to convince you otherwise. He'll whisper, you're not good enough. You've messed up too many times. God is disappointed in you. You don't deserve His love. But that's a lie. If God's love had conditions, none of us would qualify. None of us are perfect. None of us get it right all the time. But His love isn't something you earn. It's something you receive. Look at the life of Peter. He was one of Jesus' closest disciples, but in Jesus' darkest moment, Peter denied Him not once, not twice, but 3 times. Imagine the shame Peter must have felt. He probably thought he had ruined everything. But after Jesus rose from the dead, He didn't cast Peter aside. He didn't hold his failure over him. Instead, He restored him. He reminded him that his love was still there, unchanged. That's the kind of love God has for you. He's not keeping score. He's not waiting for you to prove yourself. He's already decided. He loves you completely, unconditionally, forever. Maybe today you feel like you don't measure up. Maybe you've made mistakes that weigh heavy on your heart. Maybe you wonder if God still loves you the way He used to. Let me remind you, His love hasn't changed. It never will. No matter where you've been, no matter what you've done, no matter how far you feel from Him, His arms are always open. So what's your part? Simply receive it. Stop trying to earn what's already been given. Stop striving to prove yourself. Stop believing the lie that you have to be perfect to be loved. Instead, rest in the truth that you are already loved just as you are. Let that love fill your heart. Let it bring you peace. Let it remind you that you are valued, you are chosen, and you are deeply cherished by the God who created you. And when you truly understand this, when you fully grasp the depth of His love, it will change the way you see yourself. You won't live in guilt and shame. You won't go around feeling unworthy. No, you'll walk with confidence knowing that you are loved beyond measure. You'll stand taller, dream bigger, and step into everything God has for you, not because you're perfect, but because His love is perfect. So today, no matter where you are in life, no matter what you've been through, remember this. God's love for you has no condition. It's not based on what you do, it's based on who He is. And because He is love, His love for you will never fail. Before you were even born, there was already a plan in place for your life. You were not an accident. You are not here by chance. The Creator of the universe, the one who formed the stars and spoke the world into existence, had you in mind before time began. Long before you took your first breath, long before anyone else knew you would exist, you were already seen, already known, and already loved. Think about that for a moment. You are not just one of billions lost in the vastness of humanity. You are not overlooked, forgotten, or insignificant. You are intentionally created, deliberately placed in this moment in history with a purpose that is uniquely yours. Every detail about you, your personality, your talents, your dreams, was carefully designed by the hands of a loving Creator. Sometimes life makes us feel the opposite. Maybe you've been through situations where you felt unwanted. Maybe people have overlooked you, ignored you, or treated you as if you didn't matter. Maybe you grew up in a home where love wasn't freely given. Maybe you've been in relationships where your worth was questioned, and because of those experiences, you struggled to believe that you are truly valued. But the truth is, no matter who has rejected you, no matter who has failed to see your worth, there is one who has never stopped cherishing you. His love is not based on what others think about you. It is not dependent on how many people approve of you. Even if the world overlooks you, even if no one else sees your potential, He does. Even if you feel invisible, you are fully seen. Even if you feel unworthy, you are fully loved. From the very beginning, there was a calling on your life. There is a destiny ahead of you that is greater than anything you can imagine. The fact that you are still here, still breathing, still moving forward is proof that there is more ahead. You were not placed on this earth randomly. You were set apart, chosen for something extraordinary. You may not feel extraordinary. You may look at your life and think, there's nothing special about me. I don't have any great talents. I don't have a platform. I don't have influence. But those thoughts are not the truth. You don't have to be famous to be chosen. You don't have to be in the spotlight to have a purpose. The very fact that you are alive means that there is something inside of you that the world needs. Look at the people God used throughout history. They weren't always the most talented, the most qualified, or the most impressive by the world's standards. Moses doubted himself and didn't think he could speak well. Gideon hid because he thought he was the weakest in his family. David was just a shepherd boy when he was chosen to be king. Time and time again, God has shown that He doesn't choose people based on outward qualification. He looks at the heart. He sees what no one else sees. He sees the strength inside of you that you may not even recognize in yourself. When you begin to understand that you are not here by accident, it changes the way you see your life. You stop comparing yourself to others because you realize that your journey is unique. You stop striving for approval because you understand that you are already fully accepted. You stop questioning your worth because you know that you are already loved beyond measure. Maybe you've made mistakes. Maybe you've taken detours. Maybe you've let fear hold you back from stepping into all that is meant for you. But none of that can cancel the plan that has been in place for you since the beginning. The path may not always be straight, but it still leads to something greater. Nothing you've done, nothing you've lost, nothing you've missed out on can take away the truth of who you are. And that truth is this: you are deeply valued, you are intentionally placed. You are loved beyond measure, not because of anything you've done, not because of what you bring to the table, but simply because of who you are. Simply because you belong to the one who created you. So no matter how you feel today, no matter what voices try to tell you otherwise, hold on to this truth. You are chosen, you are cherished, you are here for a reason, and nothing can ever change that. There are many things in life that can create distance between people: mistakes, misunderstandings, failures, and disappointments. In human relationships, love can sometimes fade when challenges arise. People may walk away, change their minds, or put conditions on their love. But the love that has been given to you is not like that. It is not fragile, not dependent on circumstances, and not something that can be taken away. It is constant, unshakable, and unbreakable. There may have been times in your life when you felt like you had drifted too far, when you wondered if the choices you made had placed you outside the reach of mercy. Maybe you've had moments where you questioned whether you were still worthy of acceptance, where guilt and regret made you feel unworthy. But the truth is, nothing, absolutely nothing, can separate you from the love that has been given freely to you. It is a love that remains steady, even in the face of your biggest mistakes. It does not waver when you stumble. It does not decrease when you fall short. It is not based on your performance, your success, or your ability to always get things right. It is bigger than any failure, stronger than any doubt, and more powerful than any past decision. There is no distance too great, no failure too big, no situation too hopeless to undo the love that surrounds you. Even when you feel like you have let yourself down, even when you feel like you have taken the wrong path, the love meant for you is still there, reaching out, calling you back, reminding you that you belong. It can be difficult to accept love that does not depend on conditions, especially when the world operates so differently. Society teaches that love must be earned, that you must prove yourself to be deserving of it. If you make mistakes, that love can be withdrawn. If you fail to meet expectations, you may find yourself abandoned. But the love that has been given to you is not like that. It does not shift based on what you do. It is not dependent on how others see you. It is rooted in something unchanging and eternal. No hardship, no loss, no disappointment can ever remove you from that love. It is present in every moment, whether you recognize it or not. Even in your lowest points, even when you feel unworthy, even when you struggle to believe in yourself, that love never leaves. It is with you in the quiet moments of doubt, in the storms of life, in the uncertainties of the future. Think about the times when you have felt alone, when you have questioned whether you were truly loved, when you have wondered if you were beyond redemption. The love that surrounds you has never once abandoned you. It has never turned away. It has never given up on you. Even when you have felt distant, even when you have questioned its presence, it has remained unchanging and unwavering. Sometimes circumstances can make it hard to believe in love that does not change. If you have been hurt, if you have been betrayed, if you have experienced loss, you may find it difficult to trust in something that promises to never leave. But this love is different. It is not like human love, which can be imperfect and conditional. It is not affected by emotions, mistakes, or time. It is unshakable, eternal, and always present. Even when you run, even when you hide, even when you feel too broken to be loved, nothing can take that love away from you. It is stronger than shame, greater than fear, and more powerful than anything that tries to convince you otherwise. So no matter where you are in life, no matter what you have been through, no matter how unworthy you may feel at times, hold on to this truth. Nothing can separate you from love. You are never too far, never too lost, never too broken. You are always seen, always valued, and always deeply cherished. There are moments in life when things don't go as planned, times when we face disappointment, loss, or unexpected hardships. Maybe you've walked through seasons where you felt like everything was falling apart. You had dreams, but they didn't work out the way you hoped. You had relationships, but they ended in heartbreak. You had opportunities, but they slipped through your fingers. In those moments, it's easy to feel like what's lost is gone forever. Like there's no way to get back what was taken or rebuild what was broken. But there is a greater truth at work, one that goes beyond what you see in the natural. What may seem lost is never beyond restoration. Even when it feels like things are too far gone, even when it looks like the damage is irreversible, there is still a way forward. What was broken can be made whole again. What was stolen can be returned. What was wasted can be renewed. Nothing is beyond repair. Nothing is beyond redemption. Nothing is too shattered to be restored. Think about the times in your life when you have felt like you lost something valuable. Maybe it was time. Maybe it was a relationship. Maybe it was a dream that never came to pass. The pain of loss can make you believe that the best days are behind you, that there's no way to recover what was taken. But that is not the truth. What you thought was lost is not beyond restoration. What was taken will not only be returned, but it can be restored in greater measure. You may have gone through difficulties that left you feeling like a part of you was missing, like you would never be the same again. But brokenness is not the end of the story. It is not the final chapter. No matter how deep the wounds, no matter how great the loss, there is still hope. There is still restoration. There is still a way to move forward stronger than before. There are times when the pain of the past makes it difficult to believe in the possibility of restoration. When you've been hurt, when you've experienced disappointment, when you've seen things fall apart, it's easy to believe that things can never be the way they once were. But sometimes restoration doesn't mean things go back to exactly how they were before. It means they become even better. Think about a piece of fine art that has been damaged. When it is restored, the restoration process doesn't just bring it back to its original state. In many cases, it makes it even more beautiful. The process may take time. It may require patience. It may involve going through uncomfortable steps. But in the end, what was broken is made whole again, often stronger and more beautiful than before. The same is true for your life. Even if you've been through seasons of brokenness, even if you've experienced loss, even if you feel like too much time has passed or too much damage has been done, restoration is still possible. You are not forgotten. You are not beyond repair. There is nothing in your past that is too great to be redeemed. Maybe you look at your life and think about all the time you've wasted, all the wrong turns you've taken, all the opportunities you feel you've lost. But what if nothing was truly wasted? What if everything you've been through, the good, the bad, and the painful, was all leading to something greater? What if the very things that seemed like setbacks were actually setting you up for something better? There are things in life that don't make sense in the moment. You may not understand why certain things happen, why certain doors close, why certain relationships ended. But just because you don't see the full picture right now doesn't mean there isn't a greater purpose at work. What looks like a loss today may turn into a gain tomorrow. What seems broken now may be the very thing that leads to something even greater down the road. It's easy to get stuck in regret, to replay the past over and over, wishing things had gone differently. But restoration isn't about living in the past. It's about stepping into what's ahead. It's about believing that there is still more for you, that your story is not over, that there is still beauty waiting to be revealed. No matter what you've been through, no matter what has been lost, no matter how broken things may seem, restoration is always possible. What was meant for harm can be turned into something good. What was taken can be restored in even greater measure. What seemed like an ending can become a new beginning. So don't give up hope. Don't settle for believing that the best days are behind you. Don't let the pain of the past keep you from embracing the possibilities of the future. There is still more ahead for you, more healing, more joy, more restoration. What was broken can be made whole again. What was lost can be found. What seemed impossible can become reality. Nothing is beyond redemption, and nothing is beyond restoration. Life has a way of making us question our worth. Maybe you've been through seasons where you felt unnoticed, overlooked, or undervalued. Maybe you've struggled with doubts, wondering if you're really enough, if you truly matter, if you have a purpose that is meaningful. The world often tries to define value based on external things, success, appearance, status, or approval from others. But true worth is not found in any of those things. It is not something that can be earned, increased, or diminished. It is already established. It has been there from the very beginning, unchanging and unshakable. Think about the way we assign value to things. A diamond does not lose its worth just because it is covered in dirt. A masterpiece does not become less valuable just because it is placed in the wrong setting. Its worth is determined by what it is, not by how it is treated. The same is true for you. Your value does not decrease because of past mistakes, failures, or the way others have treated you. It is not based on what you have accomplished or what you have yet to achieve. It is not determined by public opinion, circumstances, or temporary setbacks. But in a world that constantly measures and ranks people, it can be hard to hold on to that truth. Society often teaches that your worth is tied to what you do, what you have, or how others see you. If you succeed, you are valuable. If you fail, you are forgotten. If you are loved by others, you matter. If you are rejected, you don't. These are the lies that so many people believe, and as a result, they spend their lives trying to prove themselves, trying to measure up, trying to earn a sense of worth that has already been freely given. Maybe you found yourself in that cycle, striving, performing, seeking validation, hoping that if you can just do enough, be enough, achieve enough, then you will finally feel valuable. But no matter how much you accomplish, no matter how much approval you receive, it never seems to be enough. That's because real worth is not something that comes from achievements or external validation. It is something that has been within you all along. You don't have to work for it. You don't have to strive for it. You don't have to prove yourself to deserve it. It is already yours. Even if you feel unworthy, even if you struggle with self-doubt, even if you can list 100 reasons why you think you don't measure up, the truth remains. You are enough. Not because of what you've done, but because of who you are. Not because of how others see you, but because of the undeniable, unchangeable value that has been placed in you from the very beginning. It's easy to let the voices of the world define your worth. It's easy to let rejection convince you that you are not enough. It's easy to let failure make you feel like you have no value. But those things do not have the power to change what has already been determined. They do not have the ability to take away what has been placed inside of you. Think about a child learning to walk. They take their first steps, stumble, fall, and get back up again. No one looks at that child and says, because you fell, you are no longer valuable. No one says because you haven't learned everything yet, you don't matter. The child's worth is never in question. Their value is not based on how many steps they take, how quickly they learn, or how many times they fall. They are loved, treasured, and seen as valuable simply because they are. That is the same way your worth has been established. It does not depend on how many times you succeed or how many times you fall. It is not based on how perfect your journey has been. You are valuable simply because you are here, because you are created with intention, because there is something inside of you that is uniquely yours. Maybe you have struggled to see that. Maybe you have spent years believing that you have to be more, do more, achieve more in order to be valuable. But what if you already are enough? What if there is nothing more you need to do to prove your worth? What if you are already seen, already known, already loved exactly as you are? That truth has the power to change everything. When you truly believe in your worth, you stop seeking validation from sources that cannot give it. You stop measuring yourself against impossible standards. You stop living under the weight of trying to prove yourself. Instead, you begin to walk in confidence, knowing that nothing can take away your value. You begin to see yourself as you were always meant to be, whole, worthy, and enough. No matter what has happened in your past, no matter what lies you have believed, no matter how many times you have questioned your value, the truth remains. You are deeply, unconditionally, and eternally valuable. Nothing can change that. Nothing can diminish it. Nothing can take it away. So today, let go of the need to prove yourself. Let go of the doubts that try to convince you that you are not enough. Let go of the idea that your worth is something you have to earn. Instead, step into the truth that has always been there. One that says you are seen, you are loved, and you are more valuable than you could ever imagine. There are moments in life when you may feel alone, as if you're walking through challenges by yourself, facing struggles with no one to lean on. Perhaps you have encountered situations where people have left, where support you once had is no longer there, where relationships have changed, and you find yourself wondering if you have to face everything on your own. It is in these moments that doubt creeps in, whispering that you are isolated, that no one understands, that you have been left to figure it all out by yourself. But the truth is, you are never alone, even in the moments when you feel unseen. Even in the moments when you question if anyone truly knows what you are going through, you are not forgotten. There is a presence that walks with you, that stays by your side, that never leaves. No matter what you face, no matter where life takes you, no matter how many times you struggle or fall. It can be difficult to believe this when life is hard. When you are in the middle of disappointment, heartbreak, or uncertainty, it is easy to feel as if no one is there. Maybe you faced a season where friends disappeared, where people you trusted turned away, where those you counted on could no longer be found. Human relationships can be unpredictable. People may change, their circumstances may shift, and sometimes they may walk away. But the love that surrounds you is not like that. It does not waver, it does not fade, and it does not leave no matter what happens. You may have had experiences where you reached out for support and were met with silence. Maybe you have confided in people only to be misunderstood. Maybe you have walked through difficult times with no one reaching out to ask if you were okay. Those moments can create a sense of isolation, a belief that you must handle everything on your own. But the truth is, even when it feels like no one is standing with you, even when it seems like no one sees what you are going through, you are not alone. Think about the times in your life when you have felt like giving up, when the weight of circumstances felt too heavy to carry, when you didn't know how you would make it through. Somehow, you found the strength to keep going. Somehow, you made it through another day. Somehow, you discovered the resilience to keep pushing forward. That strength did not come from nowhere. That endurance did not appear by accident. Even when you couldn't see it, even when you weren't aware of it, you were being carried through. Sometimes it is not until we look back that we realize how we made it through the hardest times of our lives. You may not have felt it in the moment, but you were never abandoned. You were never left to figure things out on your own. Even in your darkest moments, even when you felt lost, even when you thought no one understood, you were never truly alone. It's easy to equate being physically alone with being truly alone. You may not always have people around you, and there may be times when friends or family are absent. But being physically alone is not the same as being abandoned. There is always a presence with you, a love that surrounds you, a strength that carries you through even when you cannot see it. Maybe you have faced times when you felt undeserving of love, when you thought your mistakes, failures, or struggles had placed a barrier between you and the possibility of being cared for. But nothing you have done, nothing you have experienced, nothing you have walked through can ever separate you from the love that remains with you. It does not leave when you fall short. It does not turn away when you make mistakes. It does not walk away when you struggle. Understanding this changes the way you see yourself and your circumstances. When you know that you are never alone, you begin to walk through life differently. You no longer see challenges as something you have to handle by yourself. You no longer allow fear to convince you that you have no support. You no longer believe the lie that you are abandoned in your struggles. Instead, you carry the unshakable assurance that you are always supported, always strengthened, always loved. Life will have moments of hardship, times when things don't go as planned, seasons when people may come and go, but through it all, one thing remains unchanged. You are never alone. No matter what happens, no matter what challenges arise, no matter how difficult things may seem, there is always love, always strength, always a presence walking with you. This truth allows you to move forward with confidence. It gives you the ability to face obstacles without fear, knowing that you do not have to figure everything out on your own. It reminds you that no matter how uncertain the future may seem, you are never walking into it by yourself. There is always a greater presence guiding you, leading you, and staying beside you through every step of the journey. So even in moments when you feel isolated, even when it seems like no one understands, even when life feels overwhelming, hold on to this truth. You are never alone. You are always seen, always loved, always carried. There is never a moment when you are forgotten. There is never a time when you are left behind. But you are always surrounded by a love that never leaves, never fails, and never fades. And that love will carry you through every season, every challenge, every step of your journey. No matter where you have been, no matter what you have faced, no matter the struggles, mistakes, or challenges that have come your way, one truth remains unshakable. You are deeply loved. This love is not dependent on your past, your achievements, or the opinions of others. It is not something that wavers based on circumstances. It is steady, unchanging, and unconditional. Through every season of life, whether in moments of joy or times of difficulty, whether standing on the mountaintop or walking through the valley, you have never been forgotten. You are not alone. Even when life has tried to convince you that you are too broken, too lost, or too far gone, that love has never left you. It has been with you from the very beginning and will remain with you until the very end. This love sees your worth even when you struggle to see it yourself. It calls you valuable even when the world tries to make you feel less than enough. It restores what has been lost, heals what has been broken, and strengthens you in ways you never thought possible. No matter the mistakes, no matter the past, no matter what has tried to hold you back, nothing can separate you from this love. So as you step forward, let this truth settle deep within you. You don't have to earn love. You don't have to prove yourself to be worthy of it. You don't have to walk through life alone. You are already seen, already known, already cherished beyond measure. Let go of the doubts. Release the fears. Stop carrying the weight of wondering if you are enough. You are, and you always have been. Walk in confidence. Stand in assurance. Move forward knowing that no matter where life takes you, you are surrounded by a love that never leaves, never fails, and never gives up on you. Your story is not over. Your best days are not behind you. The love that has carried you this far will continue to lead you into something greater. So embrace it, live in it, let it strengthen you, guide you, and remind you every single day you are loved, you are valued, and you are never alone.